episode 38 of Raw Sport. Another big one. Tony, how are you, buddy? How's things?
Good morning, Ahmed. I can't believe we're already 38 episodes in, but I'm looking forward to the next one.
Very special guest today. Another special guest, Mr. Ricky Nixon, joins us on the show. Ricky, how are you, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. I've been on fire this week, that's for sure.
We're not going there either. So for all of those out in the boxing world and the media world in Australia, Ricky is the pioneer of athlete management in this country. Ricky, when did you go back to when you started at Flying Start? How many years ago was that?
Well, effectively early 90s. My accountant at the time was one of my best friends, still my accountant, Kieran Liston. We decided to go into this player management. I was still teaching at Carey Grammar at the time. And obviously, because I was playing, you couldn't manage your own players or teammates and stuff like that. So he actually did all of it with an agreement that when I finished playing, I would take over the contractual side of it. And I guess where I got lucky was the marketing side of it, because it was right off the back of Michael Jordan in America and a young bloke, Wayne Carey, Gary Ablett, Tony Lockett came along, etc.
So the reason we have you on today is you were pivotal in creating the AFL Legends Boxing Fight Night at Gather Round in Adelaide in the first week of April. Tell us about the success now that it's probably 3 weeks on.
Oh, look, I thought it was really well received over there. It wasn't put together in 12 months sort of thing. It was basically 4 months, and Nick and Sam, the promoters, did a great job getting it together. And, from my side of it, probably came together exactly as I wanted. Daisy Thomas versus Dane Swan, the big Collingwood and Carlton connection, I suppose. And then, of course, Kane Corns fighting against Nathan Brown gave us the Channel 9 connection, as well as people's public thoughts on Kane Corns. And Anthony Rocker versus Corey McKern, the two big boys stood out. And then, of course, we had Mitch Robinson, the mad rat from Brisbane. He's a great guy, very funny, fighting Kane Pettifer.
Apparently, or not apparently, but you were looking after those 8 fighters. Was it easy, or was it an easy task to actually matchmake these guys?
Matchmaking them, we were just lucky, to be honest. I was hoping to get a fight for Jake King, for example. I couldn't find anyone to match up with him size-wise, etc. So hopefully we'll get Jake on the card next year. But, there's been a number of players, I won't name them, who have approached me since wanting to perhaps fight next year. One of the the amount of work they put in from the time I signed them last November, all of them were training 5 to 6 days, nights or mornings a week, meaning that I thought they all fought a bit better than I thought they would, to be honest.
Could we ever see active fighters fighting in these sorts of competitions or fight nights? Because I see some of the NRL boys do that, and we've never seen it on the AFL side.
Oh, it's been less on the AFL side because I think the rugby boys are more into their boxing, in all honesty, when they finish and also while they're playing. But, the AFL side is more an athletic type person. The rugby side of it's more a muscular, big, bulky, heavyweight sort of type of person. So I think there's going to be a few fights definitely in the next couple of years, rugby versus AFL.
Do you see any potential hurdles or obstacles from the AFL themselves?
Only that they won't endorse it or get behind it because they don't like to take any blame for anything that's happened in the past. And they'll think that people will claim they've been concussed or whatever. I can tell you right now that I tested all the boxers and I've offered them to be tested after they fought as well. There's no lack of duty or care from my end.
Did you approach the AFL about getting involved in the AFL Legends Fight Night?
No, absolutely not. No.
Because?
Oh, well, I didn't see any reason to get them involved because supporters make their own decisions. Not by if the AFL says go to a boxing event. I hardly think that's going to make much difference to it. But it wasn't that I didn't want to have them on board. It just wasn't anything that was a priority.
Okay. So sorry, Armin, you go.
No, you go, Sam.
Ricky, I was going to say the venue. Now, it was a great night. I was there personally to watch how everything unfolded, and it was very well put together. And obviously the fighters did a great job in, their preparation, promotion, and then on the fight night. But the venue, why was the venue chosen, which was 25 minutes away from the CBD of Adelaide?
Oh, look, yeah, that's been a bit of criticism, I gather, after the event, more from my end, and no public transport there. But the actual venue was unbelievably good in respect to it being a basketball stadium. It's perfect for a boxing event. You're much closer to the ring. the last thing you want to be is on the MCG with a boxing ring in the middle, and you're sitting up the top of the Shane Warne stand or something like that in the back row. You wouldn't see a thing or hear a thing for that matter, apart from crowd roaring. So yeah, I guess the venue's a consideration for next year, but that's not my part of what my job is, and promoters can deal with that.
Ricky, we've seen many fight nights in the past. Obviously on the NRL side where they've done it for charity and so on, and they've had a lot of success. Would you say yours was a success?
Oh yeah, look, I think it's certainly from a starting point of view it is, and everything has a short and long road, or you come to a T intersection. So I think we're still on the right hand turn at the moment. We'll see how we go.
So you're basically saying that this is the start of something different.
I think so. I think
and will be occurring regularly on a yearly basis.
Yeah, at this stage it certainly will. I look at, from my point of view, it comes down to having the right sort of characters / ex-players, which club they play for, all those sort of things. There's a few things come into it. What sort of publicity they can give to it, all that sort of thing. How the public behold them, etc.
So will it go ahead next year?
Oh, at this stage, absolutely is from my understanding. In fact, I've been approached by promoters to do other fights this year, but I'll just stick to the big one at this stage, probably.
Well, South Australian government or local government have approached you about getting behind it?
No, but the government, I believe the government were in discussions with the promoters this year to be behind it. I'm not sure whether that did or didn't happen, but certainly that'd be something they'd be looking at next year, because when you think about it, the South Australian government should be looking to put as much money into the economy as possible. This year, you got to remember, Easter was 3 days before this event. Then there were gather around. So a lot of people have spent a lot of money over a couple of weeks. Next year, it won't be the same. Probably be a couple of weeks apart. Wow.
So with all the activities that are happening at gather around, why wouldn't this be another activity that's inserted into the calendar? Because it all works hand in hand.
Oh, simply because of the concussion side of things, and the AFL's reluctance to commit to anything, which is just harming it as it goes on and on and on and on. And players are out there suffering. They think that, it's endorsing a boxing event is only endorsing concussion. That's their thoughts. And, good luck to them. It's not my worry.
Could you go? Ricky, could you have held this these fights outside or external to the Adelaide Oval in the CBD?
Look, it could. Well, there's other venues, I suppose, but it all comes down to what when you book them and try and book them and all that sort of thing. If the promoters might be already talking to several venues, I don't know at this stage.
Ricky, what's your role in all this? You seem to have a important role, but every time we ask you, it's the promoters and promoters. So you just managing the athletes, or?
Effectively, it was finding. They ticked off the actual bouts, I suppose, or who was fighting who. So I put the whole 8 together. They agreed on the whole 8. Had to negotiate the money with all of them. When I say negotiate, had to negotiate with the promoters on behalf of the 8 boxers to get them the best deal I could. And after that, it's just, I guess, assisting them with the promotion of the event. But the biggest thing that won't happen next year, I can tell you right now, is 3 or 4 weeks out from the fight, getting medical certification to fight, which included brain scans and bloods and things like that. I mean, next time we'll be doing that. As soon as the boxer signs up, I'll be sending him to the doctor to get all that done well in advance.
Did something occur that sort of is making you make that adjustment?
No, just all it is simply that I guess I didn't consider how busy these 8 people are, as well as me. It's not my full-time job doing this. Is you try and get one player to get it done in the next few days, and this other player can't get it done for another 10 days, and then there was no one in the area that they could see, and it's just it's things that's my problem, not the promoters' problems. But next year I'll make sure it's done a lot earlier.
So, what was the feedback from the 8 players?
Very good. They thought it was agreed with me. It was a very well-run night. They all came out pretty well. Corey McKernan was probably the most affected, as in knocked out a bit. But I checked with Corey that night, checked with him the next day. He went to England to watch Manchester United play and was part of something over there. And I checked in with him regularly to make sure he was okay. So they came out of it pretty much undamaged. And you know, the thing is that they're all interested in perhaps having another fight down the track.
Well, speaking of, what about Mitch Robinson and Kane Pettifer? That seemed to be the most bloody.
Yeah, look, that's certainly. Kane's had 3 fights before, and probably most people thought Kane would just pip him. But Mitch's aggression, I suppose, is pretty much out there, and he's got a long reach and pretty. You know, I thought he showed that he's been fighting for about 5 years, which he has apparently, as in not professionally fighting, but training for boxing for 5 years. So yeah, that was the biggest reaction has been, you know, the interest in Mitch Robinson fighting again. But at this stage, no decision's been made on that.
Well, will those two go toe-to-toe again in 12 months' time?
Look, that's possible. I'm sure Kane would look at it because he was disappointed that he didn't quite come up with how he hoped to. But, yeah, whether it's a rematch or not, we'll wait and see next year.
Ricky, in terms of the numbers, were you guys pleased with the crowd that was there? It looked a bit, you know, on the quieter side of things.
Who was that? Sorry, you cut out a bit there.
The crowd.
Yeah.
Were you guys happy with the crowd numbers?
Oh, look, certainly the corporate side of it was sold out completely. In fact, you know, it was packed to the rafters. The general admission side of it, I think that had a lot to do with, you know, most of the people come to those areas are families and things like that. And it was 3 days after Easter, school holidays, no public transport, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a few reasons, but that was about probably 60, 70% full, I suppose.
Do you have an update on the TV numbers? How many people tuned in this on?
No, I don't have anything to do with, or haven't had anything to do with that, so I don't know how that went, that side of it.
Interesting. So moving forward, Ricky, what does this event look like ideally if you were the one in control of everything?
Well, I think a couple of things. One might surprise a few people. First of all, I think it's definitely got a future. Secondly, what might surprise people, maybe it might be a combination of boxing and UFC, which is the big go around the world at the moment. We've got this coming up with Mike Tyson shortly. So whether AFL players would consider that or not will be an interesting conversation between me and the ex-player.
Interesting. And what do you have coming up with Mike Tyson?
No, I'm just saying Mike Tyson, the world heavyweight champion, is doing a combined boxing UFC bout against someone, I don't know who it is because I haven't taken much interest in it, but I'm just saying that could be the future. This was a straight boxing event in Adelaide. Maybe in the future it becomes a boxing UFC combined. What I mean by that is that you actually have the similar rules of half the UFC rules, half the boxing, whatever it is. I'll be interested in this Mike Tyson fight. Interesting.
Ricky, thank you very much, mate. You've been an absolute pleasure. Lots of insight. We wish you guys all the best with the future events, and hopefully this can keep going. I think a better venue closer to the CBD will bring a lot more attention, definitely. And yeah, mate, any parting words?
Yes, I just wish Tony Sheen all the best in his new film career, posing as a Hollywood actor. And we'll all be focused on the Herald Sun to see what the next part of his chapter in his life is.
Yeah, nice fishing reel, mate. No, I'm not getting involved in that. That's all about you and your gangster film. But one thing I wanted to ask on behalf of all the ex-athletes, Ricky, what are we looking at in terms of a purse? If they were to get in the ring and ring you up for next year's bout, what are they looking at getting paid?
Oh, look, it can be anywhere between 20 grand up to 100 grand. Just depends on who it is. And
100 grand?
Well, it could be, just depending on if it's a combined UFC/boxing, because it attracts double the amount of people. So, yeah, there's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes, but it comes down to delivery of audiences, ticket sales and TV and all that sort of thing.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, athletes. Call Ricky.
Call Ricky Nixon in Hollywood.
Right. 000.
All right, everyone. Take care. We'll catch you all on the next episode of Raw Sport.
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks for joining us.